The only thing that was typical was that we would have a production meeting on Monday morning, followed by a table read. And soon after the show started, there was no rehearsal. The cast would go home. Monday was a good day. Tuesday, we would come in at 10. We would read, because there was usually a new script. We would read it, and then we would put it on its feet, and we would do a run-through sometime in the early afternoon. It's funny how quickly you get to learn how this works, and the days would get shorter and shorter. But invariably, we wouldn't have all of the sets up because they would be changed over as we shot them, because the show was just so big. But it was like a high school play, the staircase over there is us outside, and this, we would just make things up. And that was part of the fun, too. We would have a run-through on Tuesday, and then at 9 o'clock Wednesday morning, we would start to shoot, and we would shoot all day Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Sometimes we were outside. Most of the time we were inside. Most of the scenes were multi-camera. Some of the scenes were single camera. It just depended on what the show asked for, what the script dictated. Oh, a script could have been 45 pages, maybe,
right.
If that.
Right.
It depended.
Mm-hmm. So clearly your soap opera work came into play
Right?
here.
Total, oh, please. Sitcom, so you call this a show? Yeah, no. But the way they wrote How I Met Your Mother, we filled our days.
So talk about the challenges of fitting a script that long into 22 minutes.
Well, hats off to Sue Fetterman, our editor. And I was always asking them to cut, because to shoot a lot of stuff that would never see the light of day was always painful to me. And sometimes they did. We would take some cuts on stage, find a more economical way of saying something. And again, just because of the way the show was structured, we could easily lift time out in post.
So you were shooting on the fly constantly.
Oh, it was like a sporting event a lot of times. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we stuck to the script, certainly. But the writer of any particular episode, whatever we were shooting, they were on the floor. Sometimes Carter and Craig, certainly in the early days, but as the years progressed, they were far too busy doing other things. So yeah, we would fly by the seat of our pants, but that was the fun.
And so talk about now all the flashbacks and flash forwards with the multiple wardrobes, the set changes. Like how do you do that?
You just do it. You get Michael Shea to schedule it so you can do it. We did a lot of hair and makeup stuff, a lot of prosthetics. It was unmanageable, but somehow we would make those 12-hour days most of the time. But no longer were we going home early. It was great when the five of them were in the bar talking, because it was like, oh my God, master, two shots and a single, action. Just, and we would do all of those in a row. Those were some nice days.
So how do you handle the continuity of all of that? Is there a giant Bible somewhere?
Not quite that, but there were writers who were there from the very beginning that kept track of stuff. And especially for that series, there were so many little things that the audience were looking for. People kept us on our toes. We made some mistakes. We would go back and reshoot something because that wasn't supposed to be hanging on the wall or that whatever. But we were pretty good about it. And it was a big job. I mean, 9 years that's a lot of show, especially when you're going back and forth like that. But again, it was like a game. I mean, it kept us all interested.
Talk about the process of bundling scenes. Did you sort of shoot all your bar scenes and then shoot
Absolutely. Absolutely, unless there were great wardrobe changes or hair and makeup changes, then we would spread them out. But a lot of times we'd be in that bar for several hours, and I mean, it got to the point where they would be sitting over there at the bar. I was sitting a little further away with my monitor, and I wouldn't even stop tape for the next scene. I would just yell out a line, and I was talking as much as they were. And we would get it done. That was a very efficient way of doing it. They knew their characters. They knew what they were supposed to do. And we could get it done. And, when you're shooting this kind of a show and you have long days every day, it's a lot. It's a lot for everybody on that stage. So anything I could do to make something go a little faster, I was happy to do.